All right, everybody, aquatic space back. Yeah, so I just had like about a 3-hour drive. But we got our fish and we got um, our corals.
Let it warm up. Oh yeah, you gotta love that aquatic dog. Alright, we're here at the expo for the Atlantic Reef Club. And this is my first time ever going to one of these. Look at that sexy car. But yeah, there's a lot of people here, so I don't know if it's for the same thing or not, but we'll get inside and check it out, see what all they got. All right, we got our supporting member, little band, raffle ticket. Here we are. They got a bunch of torches, hammers, candy canes down there. Looks great. Love the colors on all these. They're growing some phytoplankton over here. Pretty sweet too. Definitely a lot of cool stuff.
Show you guys those corals here in a second, and then I'm gonna show you guys the fish. All right, there you go. You can see it. It's copper band butterfly fish. He does not seem too happy right now, but that's because he's had a long journey, and I'm really hoping that he does well. Go ahead and see if I can put these in here without them sinking. Alright, so I turned out the light because I want the copper band to be a little less stressed out. But I'm floating the corals right now and the fish, that way they can acclimate to the temperature. And then I'm going to go ahead and set up and do a dip for the corals, and then we're going to put the fish in this bucket here, and we'll do a drip acclimation after about 30 minutes from the temperature acclimation. And I bought some other stuff, so I'll show you guys that as well. I guess I could show you this now. I got mysis shrimp, and so at the store I watched them feed the copper band. There's several fish in there that was getting in there eating all the food, and copper band went ahead and got in there and was eating away at it too. So it seemed pretty healthy to me. It was all curious, and and definitely going for the food. So I'm thinking it's pretty healthy fish. That's what they say you should do since they're finicky eaters, and I know it's going to eat mysis shrimp, so I went ahead and got mysis shrimp. Here's that mini fridge I was telling y'all about. There's my phytoplankton, and yeah, I'll show you guys some of the other exciting stuff here in a minute. All right, everybody, so while we're acclimating the corals and the fish, I got this station set up for drip acclimation for the copper band, and then I'll show you guys some of the stuff I got. So I bought this used BioCube. It's got everything, but I think it's like 20 gallons, so it's gonna be my quarantine tank. It's even got water in it and everything. So the owner said it's you know, it's already cycled, but I'm gonna quarantine the quarantine tank. So there's no telling what's in here. So obviously it's gonna just hang out without fish for about a month. That way if there's any ick or anything like that, it'll die off. What we got from the convention is we got a couple samples of Reeferoids and polyp booster, which I guess the polyp booster is to get the corals ready and to accept the food. They kind of like come out and get them stimulated to eat, and then the Reeferoids is the food that you feed them. Then we also went ahead and bought some Reeferoids. We got this cool little container here that you can put the frags in, and it's the dip. So I unscrewed the lid, and you can just kind of spin the stuff around. It's got little propellers on the bottom, kind of stir up everything, and then you can just pull the corals out, and then, you know, after dipping them, and then put them in some clean water or in your tank. We also got a free little thing of glue, which is convenient because I'm gonna be gluing corals today. And then we got some reef primer to go ahead and dip the corals in. So I'll go ahead and mix this. The guy told me, and I haven't even read this yet, but basically said about 6 ounces or grams, sorry, like 6 grams, which is like 2/3 of the cap. I don't know, I'll try to figure that out because I don't have scales for one of these. So that way I put the right amount in. We'll dip the corals after they temperature acclimate, get any pests that we don't want on them off, and then put them in the tank. I also got this power head. It's only one for now. I'm gonna get another one here soon. And then I got reef crystals. I did get Instant Ocean, the regular one, but that was before. I didn't realize like this is good for reef because it comes with extra like calcium and magnesium in it, and so it's going to be really good for the corals. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my water changes and everything with this. I'm not quite sure what I'll do with the other salt yet. I guess when the tank gets established and I start dosing the tank with calcium and magnesium, all these other things, then I'll go ahead and probably just use up that other salt because, you know, I don't want it to go to waste. But yeah, so that's the stuff I got. All right, so we added salt water, and then I got what I think is about 6 grams worth. Again, I'm just eyeballing this, and I'll learn as I go. You know, I'm sure 2 or 3 years from now I'll be a pro and be able to explain to you guys a little more detail. But anyway, go ahead and pour this in here, and that's going to be the reef primer. Go ahead and stir that around. Whoops. Get that stirred up in there, and we'll add the frags here in a minute. I do not have gloves, it's latex gloves, and I did cut myself yesterday on a paper box or a cardboard box, and I have a zoanthid in there. So I'm going to be using these tweezers to work with the frag. I don't really got time. Everything's already kind of been out of their environment for like 3 hours or so. And I hear that not all zoanthids are poisonous, although maybe they are all poisonous, but to different levels. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure which type of zoanthid I got. So I'm going to be using my right hand, and then I'm also, like I said, I'm going to be using these tweezers to work with that frag to try to eliminate you know, possibly getting injured by the toxins that it can release. So if I end up in the hospital, then everybody knows not to do this. I wouldn't advise it. Alright, we're going to go ahead. It's been about 30 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and put the fish in the bucket and allow it to acclimate to the salinity and the parameters of my water. So I know he's not happy. Put him in here. Alright, now we're gonna, like I said, drip acclimate for a while. Let's see here. There we go. That's good steady stream. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know if you guys can see it dripping. I don't want it to stop dripping, but good steady stream. And we're going to go ahead and also get the corals out. Some of these I'm not entirely sure what they are, I'm not going to lie. I'll try to figure out. This is the Zoa, so I'll try to be careful with that. I'll probably just handle these corals anyways with these tweezers, or attempt to. I guess these aren't much tweezers. There we go. And here's the zoanthid with the cut on my left hand, so really try not to mess around with this guy too much. He's upside down. It's not really happy that he's upside down, but most of the time, especially if you're probably dealing with the larger ones, you're gonna want gloves. You're gonna want eye protection, because they can even squirt the water up and get in your eyes. It's been several minutes on the drip acclimation, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually I'm gonna get these. I've sterilized these already with some vinegar. We're gonna go ahead and get the corals out and place them. Oh, something else maybe to look at. I don't think you can really see in there before I get these out. There's my flashlight. But there's a few things on the bottom. I think there may be a couple like copepods. I don't really see much of anything, which to me is a good sign on you know, there not being parasites on these. And then we're going to install the power head into the tank. Alright, so along with installing anything in a tank, you want to make you don't want a straight shot to your electrical supply, so you're going to want loops, and they're drip loops. And the reason for that is if water travels or seeps down the cabling, it'll drip at the bottom of the loop before going back up to your surge protector and power unit. That way you don't end up creating like electrical fire and stuff. So I installed the surge protector up high, that way everything kind of loops back anyways, that, you know, everything will drip right down. And notice the bubbles shot out, so looks like we're getting some good flow out of it, blowing some detritus off the rocks. And lastly, the moment I've been waiting for is to put the fish in. Now, typically what you do is you take the fish and you would temperature acclimate it. Then you would, after temperature acclimate it, you put it in a bucket and you drip acclimate it. That way it gets used to the salinity and the parameters of your tank. And then you would fish it out with a net or by hand and put in the tank. Really, copper bands get really stressed, and they're finicky eaters, and I want really good chance of this fish. Plus, I'm not quarantining it, so what's on it is pretty much probably what's already in its water. So in short, I am going to add the water along with it, which I'm not going to do in the future again. And I know I have a chance of adding unwanted pests, but this first time I'm just going to go ahead and do it because I really don't want to upset the copper band. There we go. Looking good. Probably not too happy, but yeah. Definitely blew up a lot of stuff. We got the power unit in. We got our zoanthid up top, and nothing's really come out a whole lot yet. Obviously, just put it in there. Probably give it a day or two. But yeah. If any of you guys can tell me what that is, or what that is, I would greatly appreciate it. And if I figure it out by next video, I'll tell you guys what it is. Here's the green star polyp. So yeah, so today we got our power head installed, got our 4 corals, got our copper band butterfly fish, got them some food, and I'm really excited to hook up this cube and get it going, get it cycling. That way I can go ahead and start quarantining everything after this. If I start seeing ick or red velvet or anything like that on the copper band, I unfortunately will, I'll try my best to combat it and give it its best chance of living. But in the worst case, the fish perishes, then I will actually let the tank cycle for 30 days, let the pests and parasites die off, and break their life cycle. I'm really stoked. I love the copper band butterfly fish. It's a real peaceful fish. So I'm glad that I'm adding it as my first fish. I did a lot of research on it, so I'm really hoping I can keep him alive. I know he's not what people would consider a beginner's fish, and then I'll start adding other fish in, slowly adding more aggressive fish, because you don't want to add an aggressive fish off the start. If you add aggressive fish off the start, then it claims the whole tank, and then anything you add in after it, it'll kill it. But the copper band is a very peaceful, loving fish, so very slow to get in on the food, when everything else is being ferocious sometimes. And so I think giving him the first chance, I think this is really the best chance for a copper band, is if you get this fish first. And that's just my opinion as a novice, so take it for what it's worth. And man, he's just a beautiful fish. I love this little guy. I've wanted one for a while now, ever since I decided to get in the hobby. This has been pretty much the fish I wanted. Now I got it in my tank. I'm stoked, and I'm really excited about these corals too once they come out. That GSP I'm going to put in the back. I'm going to glue it up against the wall, probably about 6 to 8 inches from the water line, and then I'm just going to try to carpet the whole back, make the whole back mat of GSP. So that's going to be, or green star polyp. So that's going to be really exciting to watch that grow. And look, he's already looking around at the rock, what he can pick at, and that's part of their natural behavior. Copper bands love to just pick at the rock all day long. That's why they're considered reef safe with caution, because they can pick at some corals, because it's just in their nature to dig around in those crevices. That's why they have the long snout. They're real curious creatures, and they just like to, just graze all day long. These things. It looks like that coral back there might be coming out just a little bit already too, and it's only been in shortly. I mean, you can tell it's definitely not fully extended, but yeah. So give you guys one more look at the corals while they're obviously not too happy. Whoops. There we go. They're not happy campers right now. but they will be. We'll get them going. All right, till next time.